Hello, welcome to The Sims, known as the land of opportunity and pools without ladders. One of those games where you can achieve lifetime career goals while simultaneously committing egregious Geneva Convention violations. While most people opt for art or gardening as their skill of choice, The Sims 4 actually has 20 skills in the vanilla game. Here's the full list. Since I have nothing better to do with my time, I'm giving myself 100 days to attempt to max each and every one of these bad boys. For an added challenge, I'll be starting with $0 and on an empty lot, just like how we did it for the Rags and Riches video I made a while back. Oh, and real quick, to the 76.8% of you who are watching but haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Get on it, you're missing out on mediocre commentary and outdated dad jokes. Alright, back to whatever this is.
Meet Scilius Maximus.
A man known for his intense love for cosplaying as Boba Fett. No one tell him about the show, it would just ruin his life. Please, he's been wearing this outfit for like 15 years and he's never missed a trip to Rainforest. Anyway, due to his over-the-top spending on his state-of-the-art cosplay suit, he's found himself with $0 and nothing to his name aside from this plot of grass and the suit. If I want to complete this challenge, I'll need to max the skill on average every 5 days. Full disclosure, I have no idea if that's actually possible. I've got like 10 hours in The Sims 4, almost all of my time is spent on The Sims playing Sims 2 Castaway on the PlayStation, or Sims 2 University on my family desktop like 15 years ago. Now that you know what you're getting yourself into, Day 1 was all about getting started. Duh. I need some quick cash to get me moving, so I took a stroll down near the library where I could forage for various items to sell. When I couldn't find any plants to steal, I gave up and just started fishing. I figure why not get an early start on a skill while also earning enough cash to make some food with. When fishing yielded no results, I zoomed out to find that a ton of plants had started growing, along with some spots for me to look for frogs. By that afternoon, Scilius was walking around with a pocket full of frogs and rocks, or however that Natasha Bedingfield song goes. Now that we're up to 550 simoleons, it's time to get crazy. What's that? Oh god, he stole a book. Well, I originally wanted them to spend some time at the library, but it seems that Scilius Maximus has other plans. He did manage to acquire the cooking skill though. I figured it was probably smarter to read the first book and learn a bit before starting, so I wasn't just burning food all the time. That evening, I started learning programming at the library as well, which for some reason is like the local hangout for this town. Fucking nerds. By the end of the night, I'd also acquired the comedy skill. Can't wait for him to try an open mic only to end up like Michael Richards. Anyway, it's late, so I went back to my plot of land, purchased a cot, and knocked out for the night. Since there's nothing to do on my plot of land, I'll be spending a lot of my early days out on this strip. Originally, I was planning to make my own food, but it looks like someone beat me to it, so I was able to grab their leftovers and get on with my day. The gym has showers and bathrooms, so I can take care of all my needs here, which is really nice. I can also start on my fitness journey. After a quick workout, it was back outside to start harvesting any plants I came across, leveling my gardening skill in the process. By that afternoon, I'd managed to harvest 3 snapdragon and 4 lily plants, which I brought back home and stuffed into the ground. While I was queuing up planting tasks, Scilius managed to acquire the gaming skill while on his phone. Not only is he a Star Wars geek, but it also looks like he's super into Raid Shadow Legends. Talk about a self-imposed chastity belt. Sorry ladies, he's committed to the grind. And microtransactions. With my plans attended to, it's back to the library where I can read more of the Volume 1 skill books like Charisma Volume 1, Learning How to Talk to Women. Honestly, this just felt like a ton of early Project Zomboid grinds where you stockpile all the books and then spend days burning through them. Day 3 kicked off bright and early over at the communal garden. See, I noticed this was right next to my house, and it made for a fantastic day of harvesting everything I could find before digging up pipe bombs in the ground and stealing frogs from random people's backyards. I noticed there's an option to breed frogs, so I'm gonna mess with that for a bit. The only trade-off is that all that takes place in Scilius Maximus's pockets, so just don't look down there. After a short pizza party, it was back to work, planting over 100 snapdragons and bluebells. I'll probably need to hire a gardener eventually, but for now, this will be a great way to grind out gardening levels and make me rich in the process. While it may be a bit excessive, this did get me to just under level 4 by the time I'd called it quits that night. On the morning of day 4, I reached gardening level 4 while still planting all of the seeds strewn on the floor. Whenever he felt depressed or lonely, Skilius would pass the time by simply talking to his plants. Who needs to make friends when you can simply grow your own? Honestly, yeah, almost the entirety of day 4 was spent working on the garden. Sure, I'd crammed all those seeds into the dirt, but I still needed to water them, which took hours. When I did finally finish for the night, I sent Skilius on a light jog to keep scratching away at his fitness journey. Not wanting to waste precious simoleons on pizza deliveries, I've been surviving on apples from the communal garden. Day 5 brought our first snapdragon harvest, netting us close to 2,500 simoleons. With that cash, I purchased some necessities like a shower, a chess table, and a tablet so we could start grinding Genshin Impact. Now that all the plants are taken care of, we've got a bit more free time that can be spent being as productive as possible. I just hope he doesn't find out he can link his credit card. That evening, we started learning chess. Nothing too exciting for once. Just before bed, Skilius settled in by purchasing and reading Andrew Tate's ebook on how to become an alpha male, all before trying to book a trip to Romania. The daily morning routine is going to become mass selling my harvest yield. With the full set, I'm pulling in about $10,000 a day, which is more than enough to set me up for life, but this isn't about becoming a millionaire. This is about the grind. Now that I've got some cash though, the best thing to do is immediately blow it on impulsive purchases. Strewn about my plot of land, you'll now find almost every item needed to max my skills. We have a bookshelf, an easel, musical instruments, a workbench, a bar next to the workbench because everyone knows power tools are way more fun to use when you're trashed. I also have a workout machine because we've all thought to ourselves, if I just make my own home gym, I'll work out all the time. And then next to that is a desk and a computer where we'll probably end up spending most of our time. With all those cool oddities laying around the yard, Skilius got his first taste of the bar life, practicing mixing various drinks. I like to think he was just making a bunch of random shit like that one episode of The Office, where they have the Christmas party and Michael Scott's just dumping booze and Splenda into cups and just serving it up. When he was nice and boozed up, Skilius simply turned into Magnus Carlsen, destroying himself on the chessboard in an epic battle of brain cells, simply teleporting pieces around the board with his mind. Since the lilies tend to sell for the most, I opted to harvest them instead of sell them for a bit, and then have them slowly replace the bluebells, since those ones only sell for like 2 simoleons a pop. I hit gardening level 6 while harvesting everything, and by the time I'd planted the new lilies and watered, it was already almost midnight. I ended up working through the night though, before passing out on the plants like a drunk stepdad. It's no secret that this isn't sustainable, but we've got to keep pushing. We're only 8 days in, for God's sake. Since we don't have the Sims 4 drug dealer DLC, the only other way to keep myself awake was by brewing coffee. So that's what we did. After drinking enough coffee to give an elephant a heart attack, Skilius Maximus returned to his garden, selling off his harvest and replanting another 40 lilies, stopping for short siestas as needed. Now that we're starting to stockpile cash as well, I did cave in and splurge on the Princess Diaries bed, which is, to my knowledge, the best vanilla bed in the game. If you don't believe me, we were fully rested by midnight and able to spend a good 12 hours or so on the garden, getting us up to level 8. At this point, I decided to try my hand at building my own house, which went as poorly as you'd expect it to go. Since I had the IQ of a melted popsicle, I couldn't figure out how to get the dimensions I wanted and then add roofing on top, so I just went with a pre-made room tile that just made a series of squares. So far in my concrete box, I've got a living room, area, walkway, a tiny ass bedroom, another bedroom, a kitchen, a study, and a music room, with a workbench and booze table outside for now. I placed a few windows, but there's no wallpaper or flooring, just a metal box with concrete dumped onto the floor. Home sweet home. On the bright side, I can keep harvesting potatoes, strawberries, and apples from the communal garden, and then use them to make my own food with at a much cheaper price. Not that it really matters, but it's just a mechanic that I still really enjoy using. Now that I can fully sleep in like 4 hours, I'm freeing up much more time to start focusing on the more boring skills, like programming. That being said, we're 10 days in, and I'm about to max my first skill, gardening. From supercelling alone, I reached level 9, and got a chunk into 10. Now, since I don't need to worry about it anymore, I hired a gardener to manage my plants, but still allow me to pull in close to 25k per day. Since gardening was taking up literally all of my time, and I don't have to worry about that anymore, I went ahead and spent 8,000 simoleons on every skill book I'd ever need, before spending the next 14 hours doing nothing but reading those. Day 11 was a big deal for us because it marked our first completed skill with gardening. 1 down, only 19 to go. With that, it's time to get back out in the world and start expanding into different skills, and by that, I mean it's back to embarrass myself at the gym. Once my workout was finished up, I headed back over to the library where I made a plugin. Apparently this filled Boba Fett up with confidence, which allowed me to go grind out some charisma by talking to myself in the bathroom. In other news, I'm just not going to worry about cooking at the moment. I figure I'll just slowly chip away at it since, I'm going to need to eat. Starting off day 12, I hit programming level 3 before supercelling all of my plants to get me up near 100,000. Once that was finished, I pulled off some epic Gamerman hacks on a trust fund account, walking away with a whopping 118 simoleons. During the afternoon, I fixed up the toilet, unlocking the handiness skill. To end the day, I practiced mixing some more drinks. Honestly, I know we're only 12 days in, but I feel like I'm just kind of bouncing all over the place with skills, and I think I should probably just hunker down and focus on like 1 or 2 at a time. So what I think I'll do is focus on programming and the violin, while doing a quick workout in the morning and a jog in the evening. Of course, I say this and then immediately acquire the writing skill. Looking at the reward store, I can get Savant for 4,000 points, which allows me to learn skills much faster, making me want to hit my max aspiration as quickly as possible. The only holdup with that is that I need to reach level 3 in any career, which will take up a ton of time. I landed on the athlete career since I figured all I need to do was grind fitness. On the bright side, it's Friday, so I still have a full weekend to get a jump on the promotion requirements. Whenever I become inspired, I'm going to work on some musical instruments, starting with the violin. That being said, I'll be working on it while fully zoomed out for a while, because if I have to listen to this all day, I'll stick knives in my ears. To build on that, when focused, you can work on logic stuff, but a better solution is to put the power of autism to work and start my own SpaceX in the backyard. Alrighty, it's day 14, and we have lighting and flooring in the house now. Very exciting stuff. Not that talking to plants is getting boring or anything, but if there's a chance to boost my social bar while also grinding some skills, obviously that's a bigger win. Luckily for me, I've got a fishing plot right next to my house, so whenever someone comes over to fish, I can chat them up while pounding out a level or 2. I did manage to find some clay as well, and molding it gave me the focused mood, so I ran back to work on my spaceship for a bit. Okay, I think I've got this. Hacking makes you feel focused, while also boosting programming skill, so on my days off, I could hack something in the morning, and then use the focused mood to either help with building a rocket ship, or kicking some 13-year-old's ass in chess. Also, this is what I'm talking about in regards to cooking. I haven't focused on it at all, and I'm already hitting level 4, just from making breakfast and dinner with an occasional lunch tossed in here and there. I keep forgetting that I also have like 180k just sitting in my bank, so I finally upgraded my shower to the best one I could grab. This one allows me to take bubble baths, putting Skilius in a playful mood which can be used to help with his comedy sets.
Flarbin Theori, Skibaba Fibane, Franjna Garza, Tribna,
Day 16 was our first day of work, which sucks. Not only did I not need the money, but I'm incapable of doing anything productive for 9 hours a day. By the end of day 1, I'd hit excellent performance, but didn't get promoted, meaning we'll have to wait until tomorrow for that. Also, no fucking clue where the gardener is, but my plants are starting to die, meaning I can't even grind any skills and instead spend most of my night trying to save my garden. I had a bit of time before work on the morning of day 17, so I tried to make my own virus, but wasn't able to finish it before I had to leave. On the bright side, I was promoted to a locker room attendant. That being said, I still haven't seen my gardener, leaving me to, once again, keep working on the garden in place of them. I decided to just give up on my garden on day 18. I don't know what's going on, but my gardener just kind of gave up, so I'm giving up too. Instead, I focus on working out to get my daily task done before work. I'm almost on level 3, but if the aspiration is going to continue, I'm assuming I'll need to just keep progressing in the same career path. On day 19, Skilius was promoted to Team Mascot, completing his furry arc. This also completed the aspiration goal. Now I need to do it all over again, this time in a different career. I chose astronaut as my new profession. The daily goal is now to play chess, so as long as I take a thoughtful shower and play some chess, this should be an easy path to success. The next morning, I left for work, solved a formula my first day, and was nearly promoted. That evening, I removed all the dead plants to clean up the area. I did decide to keep all the lilies though, since they were still bringing me in over 20,000 simoleons per day. I know I probably don't need the money anymore, but it's just a mental thing where I need to keep seeing the green number go up. Day 21 was a Saturday, which means it's time to work on some extra skills. After getting my daily task in, of course. I managed to hack LlamaCon listserv before modding a few games, bringing me to programming level 5. Another thing I've noticed is that telling jokes boosts my social skill, making it a great way to pass the time, even if no one's there to hear them. Onwards to day 22 though. I need to get 5 skills to level 5 as one of my requirements for the next aspiration goal, and since I'm focused, and rocket science is at level 4, I decided to just spend the morning working towards checking that one off the list. By around 10:30, the ship was completed, allowing me to go explore space before crashing on a random planet. Exploring space almost feels like a choose-your-own-adventure book from when I was a kid, where you're prompted to pick between different options to play out various scenarios, all before coming home. You can upgrade and improve portions of the ship over time as well, which is a really cool feature. Once I landed back home, I upgraded the landing stabilizers, which got me up to rocket science level 5. Now all I need to do is reach level 3 in the astronaut career. Not sure how I didn't get a promotion from this, but I didn't. I guess it's back to chess. When I finished my daily task, I spent the rest of the night reading the Handiness Volume 1 skill book, which got me up to level 2 before falling asleep. Before work each morning, I've been spending time telling jokes to my wall in order to boost my social bar. Look who's back. She literally just dipped out for like a week. Look at her face. How can you take a full week off of work and come back looking like you want to climb into an oven? So, I don't know if my game's just bugged or whatnot, but I'm still not getting promoted, so I quit my short stint as an astronaut and found a new job as a secret agent before spending the rest of the night fixing my dishwasher and toilet. Talk about a line in a script that can only be said in a game like The Sims. Anyway, the best part of this job is the fact that I'm working 7 to 3 instead of 9 to 5. I came pretty close to a promotion on day 1, but I'll have to finish it off tomorrow. Since I'm off work so early, I got to spend a few extra hours upgrading my rocket ship again. Alright, see, I told you, it's gotta be bugged for that career, because I had no issue doing it as an intelligence researcher. On top of that, I hit cooking level 7. Also, I realized I haven't been working out a ton since I quit being an athlete, so I got on the quick workout before going to bed. To kick off day 27, I finished creating a virus that I started like 2 weeks ago, earning me 414 simoleons. I didn't get promoted today, and we're going into the weekend, but I should be able to hit career stage 3 on Monday, which was reassuring. Until then, I've got the weekend to keep grinding away. And what better place to make smart decisions than a nightclub on a Friday night? Now, I may not have a routine written, but I can stand at a mic and smack it against my helmet. Also, I'm pretty sure, like, all the Sims music is copyright claimed, so enjoy the weird silent dancing in the background. I like to think of it as them loving the joke so much that they just had to dance. Ironically, this is exactly how I dance after having like 3 shots, so enjoy that thought forever. On an even better note, it's Skilius Maximus's birthday today, and I had no idea. Talk about perfect timing. Naturally, I'll be celebrating by getting everyone else completely shit-faced. After downing like 15 drinks, I just started walking around and shock buzzing everyone I could find. After waking up the next morning, I was in a focused mood, so I continued upgrades on my spaceship, expanding the cargo bay and leveling up once again. After I got bored of that, I got in a quick workout before getting started on my comedy routine. And by that, I mean I let ChatGPT write a comedy routine, while I sat back and made Donald Trump hand gestures at the screen. That evening, I'd planned to go back to the nightclub, but my oven exploded, so I spent the night fixing that instead. I don't know if this makes him a full-blown alcoholic or what, but this dude's out here slamming cocktails at 5:30 in the morning of his own free will. I didn't force him to do this. I didn't want to kill his inspiration though, so I let Skilius Maximus mess around at the bar for a few more hours while waiting for everything to wear out. By 10:30, I'd managed to knock out 2 more levels in mixology, getting me all the way up to 5. I decided to change up the pace a bit and went to bed at like 3 PM. After waking up, I took a bubble bath to put Skilius in a playful mood, made a silly face in the mirror, and then went back to the nightclub to try out my first set. Since it's a Sunday evening, the place was deserted aside from the few acquaintances I'd invited. Both of my sets were poorly written, but the big titty lesbians seemed to enjoy it, so there's that. I did end up hitting comedy level 5, which allows me to refine sets to make them better, so at least we have that now too. A straight up mood. On day 30, I hit cooking level 8 before heading to work. After being promoted again, it's time to quit the force and find another career to start over in. I also need to hit level 8 in 6 skills now, so we'll need to get cracking on that. I ended up choosing the culinary career since my cooking is so high already that I'll meet any requirements needed. Since it's Monday, I should also be able to hit that before the end of the week as well. Oh, and cooking food counts towards my daily tasks, so literally just making breakfast and dinner progresses it. Nothing like boozing up at 2 AM on a Tuesday, am I right, fellas? In terms of skills, here are the closest ones I can get to 8. Ideally, I can do rocket science and logic pretty close together. Mixology will be easy since I can just take a thoughtful shower every morning and then just make drinks until I leave for work. Charisma is also getting there as well, and I can do that pretty easily by looking into a mirror. Again, no day 1 promotion, but I'll hit it tomorrow. If I repeat that again on Thursday, I should be able to hit level 3 in culinary by Friday evening. In the meantime, I just continued forcing myself to play chess, leveling up once again. I can do the same premise of mixology with comedy too, where I just take a bubble bath, get into a playful mood, and then practice jokes until work. This tends to work a little more in my favor since it boosts my social skill as well. I managed to get promoted to head dishwasher. Feel free to make your own Harrison Butker joke here, I'll leave you a few seconds. Alright, great, got that out of the way. The rest of day 32 was business as usual. I got on a quick workout, hit fitness level 5, and then practiced speech until bedtime. Another day, another salty llama before work. This explains the massive beer gut. Right on schedule. I should be able to get my next promotion tomorrow, and then all I need to do is finish up my skills, which I can handle over the weekend. I was getting bored of only doing chess every day for logic, so I bought my own backyard observatory. This thing is so dope. It's just really loud for some reason, so the camera is staying back here. I did manage to get this cool print of the sky that you can hang as artwork or sell if you need the cash and don't want to start an OnlyFans. Honestly, this may be a pretty decent way to make some money though. With the time I had before work on day 34, I continued upgrading my spaceship. Just like we planned it. Now all that's left to do is get these skills to level 8. Originally, I was scheduled to work on the weekends with a new promotion, but since the ad aspiration goal is checked off, I just quit, allowing me to stay unemployed for as long as I need. Outside of that, I also hit cooking level 9, making it my next closest skill to maxing out, and it's really not even close. Since I've been neglecting gaming recently as well, I got back on that train, purchasing a VR mat so we could play off-brand Tetris on it. This has gotta be the saddest f***ing thing. Look how happy he is.
Whoa!
To end the night, I finally did it. I sold my plants. There really just isn't a need for them anymore. Even if my bills are 50k per cycle, I'll still finish the playthrough before I run out of money. It just made sense, and honestly, it was becoming more of an eyesore to have to keep looking at dying plants every day. I also went ahead and swapped out some old hobbies for higher quality ones, like a better bar, a better violin, new fitness machine, new stove, and new fridge, all the best that I could get for the vanilla version. Looking at my skills here, rocket science, logic, and programming are all boosted by the focused mood. So as long as I can just keep Skilius Maximus focused the entire weekend, I should be able to get all 3 of them up to level 8. Also, he's Paul Blart Mall Cop now. To kick off this glorious Saturday, Mr. Mall Cop got to work on his rocket ship, optimistic that he'd one day be able to hang out with Elton John if he could just take flight. All jokes aside, I did manage to hit level 7 before 8 AM and head out into space, where I was instantly challenged to a race. Naturally, I accepted, even if I'm flying the equivalent of a 1995 Toyota Corolla. We lost this time, but I still think this is a really cool little feature in the game, and one that I didn't have to pay like $20 to demo. With the ship back at the launch pad, I spent a few hours on my computer trying to regain focus so I could install an ion cannon, hitting programming level 6 in the process. Now, I'm not sure how, but I became inspired instead of focused here. No big deal though, I can just practice making drinks. At this point, I was getting lonely, so I headed back to the nightclub to tell some jokes while everyone else took acid and did the dancing. On day 36, I woke up to find that I was at 5,100 aspiration points. No idea how I missed that, to be honest. I just checked a few days ago and I was at like 3,400, so that's a big jump in a small amount of time. Regardless, I was able to scoop up the Savant reward, which allows me to gain skills 25% faster. I'm still going to keep working towards achieving all the aspiration goals though, since I can still get some pretty cool perks like no longer needing to sleep and all that. It's also just a great way for me to stay focused on some of these skills. I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to focus on making drinks whenever I'm inspired. I hit mixology level 7 before noon, and since I had a ton of inspired moodlets, I just kept pushing forward, stopping only to take thoughtful showers to re-inspire. God, he's so f***ing cool. Anyway, I reached mixology level 8 that evening, and with that, we're halfway done with the Renaissance sim. The next morning, I noticed I was practically done with cooking after making breakfast, so I decided to just farm that out until I hit cooking level 10. Giving me my second max skill of the run. It only took like 30 extra days. With that, we have 18 left, which sounds way worse than it actually is. In reality, we're about to start checking off a ton of them in the next week or two. But first, we've got to get our social life under control. And what better way to do that than by telling lies to strangers? You know, before Facebook, this is how we helped boomers spread misinformation. In the afternoon, I took my rocket ship out for another cruise through space where I boarded an abandoned vessel and stole a bunch of dead aliens to bring home. On day 38, I chose to focus on writing while I was inspired, leveling up before switching over to programming when I became focused. That afternoon, I hit up some acquaintances to head on down to the park, mainly because Skilius Maximus has negative social skills. As it turns out, not my worst idea. See, I can play chess here while chatting with like 10 people, so it all kind of evens out. Hell, I even hit logic level 7 off of this, and maxed out my social bar. After leveling up logic again, I switched focus to mischief, essentially just making a fool out of myself and becoming a compulsive liar, all to hit level 3. At least now I can ask due dates on Sims who aren't pregnant, which is ironic considering I'm a few hot dogs away from becoming the next member on my 600-pound life. Moving on to day 39, I got off to a hot start after writing my first short story. I didn't manage to finish it though because I became focused and wanted to take advantage of the opportunity. I spent the rest of the day just sitting in my observatory trying to hit logic level 8. Look, there's even an Aaron Rodgers option. On day 40, I finished writing my short story, hitting level 5 in the process. After that finished up, I found a new way to work on mischief, by becoming a Reddit gremlin and trolling various forums. You can't make this up. I think the best part is that Skilius Maximus looks like this is what he does in his spare time, so it all just fits perfectly. That afternoon, I hit logic 8 by whipping 360s in the observatory before spending the evening fishing. I managed to hit programming level 7 the following morning before even getting my day started. That being said, we're lonely again, so it's back to the nightclub for more jokes and comedy sketches. I only need one more skill at this point, and I know I can get it with programming, so I'm hoping that I can wrap that up by day 42, then get that aspiration reward where you just become a complete introvert. After pondering some moves on the chessboard to get into a focused mindset, I spent the rest of the morning brute forcing my way to programming level 8. I managed to hit it that afternoon and wrapped up the aspiration goal. As soon as that was completed, I bought the independent reward, making my social bar deplete much slower. Now that my aspiration goals have all been met, I chose a new one, Computer Whiz, which I already have a ton of progress in. I figured this way I could just burn through and continue farming aspiration rewards. I already own over 3,000 worth of electronics, and am past level 3 for programming skill, so all I needed to do was play video games for 2 hours straight while in a focused state, which I'll take care of in the morning. And there we go. With the first portion done, I grabbed the tech guru job since I need to farm through that, and then spent the rest of the day socializing at the library, trolling any forum I wasn't already banned on. Day 44 was spent finishing up the app I've been working on for like a week now. Here's how it went. Sit at desk at 3 times speed. Wait for focus time to wear off. Go ponder moves at chess table. Come to desk and sit at 3 times speed. Repeat as needed. After a full day of hard work, I managed to complete my app, giving it an appropriate name and sending it out into the world. The next morning, I figured I should just finish off the programming skills since I was already halfway from 9 to 10. The best way I could think to do this? Well, make a video game, of course. That being said, I've got work today, so it'll have to be more of a side hustle for now. After I got home from work, I made a gourmet dinner, realized I was inspired, and started grinding mixology again. Before work on day 46, I managed to level up gourmet cooking again, getting it all the way up to level 6. I managed to secure another promotion at work, meaning only one more to go until this section of the aspiration goal is completed, hopefully by Friday. During the early hours of day 47, I finally capped programming, bringing me up to 3 completed skills. While waiting for work later that morning, I realized I can now spy on my neighbors using the observatory. They'll never know. The one trend that's continued since we first bought it is that Skilius Maximus cannot make it through the morning without boozing up. Bro's developed into a legit booze bag who spends his time slamming cocktails and then spying on his neighbors. He's like that nosy neighbor from Bewitched. After securing another promotion at work, we can move on to the next computer whiz goal, reaching level 5 of the Tech Guru career. To help with the grind, I also redeemed 2k points on Night Owl and Morning Sim, both of which gave a boost to skill grinding in the evenings and mornings. To test this out, I hit up the nightclub to get the crowd dancing to my jokes. Much like I did for programming, I decided to just brute force my way through mixology since I'm so close to wrapping it up. Now, it may have taken almost the entire day, but that's 2 max skills in like 3 days. As a way to make amends to the irreversible damage I've done to this man's body, I went ahead and got rid of the bar. Sure, he'll probably be a little grouchy for the rest of his life, but that's the price you pay for drinking the devil's nectar. To end the night, I leveled up gourmet cooking again. It's working exactly the same as normal cooking, where I'm using it for breakfast and dinner, with an occasional lunch tossed in, and it's working wonders. Next on the list is Logic. It's the highest non-max skill that I have, coming in just above Rocket Science, both of which are at level 8. If you want to listen to some quick math, we're 50% through the challenge in terms of time, as we're on day 50, and we've maxed out 20% of the skills, needing 16 more to go. Now I know that still needing to max 16 skills sounds like a lot, but again, there's a ton of skill that we already halfway to level 10 and could be finished in a couple days each. Like Logic, for example, which is my plan for today. I hit level 9 around noon and then just pushed through the day, maxing out the skill just before midnight, literally at 11:59 PM. After a pretty strong week, it's time to come crashing back down. Day 51 was a dud. I woke up, went to work, came home, and did some programming to complete my daily task for a chance to get promoted again. After a shaky day yesterday, we found our footing early on day 52, hitting gourmet cooking level 8 at around 5 AM. I also decided to make writing a focal point for skill grinding. It's just been a background skill for most of this video, leveling it whenever I was interested and didn't have much time, but now I've got a few hours before work every morning that I can assign that grind to. I also secured another promotion, so I've just got to get through 2 more work days, and then that portion will be complete as well. With the time I had left in the day, I set off to compete in another space race, this time pushing it instead of staying the course, resulting in Skilius winning his first race. After landing back home, I finished upgrading the defense system and headed to bed. To give myself a goal to work towards with writing, I started working on skill books for skills that I'd already completed, starting with a book for cooking. Other than that, not much happened today. I went to work, did my daily task, and then finished up my first skill book. On the morning of day 54, I hit gourmet cooking level 9, meaning I should be maxing that out ideally by the end of the week. I also leveled up writing before work and started on another skill book, this time for gardening. The biggest upside for gourmet cooking is that making a high quality meal inspires you, which I can then use for writing and any musical instruments. If you eat the meal fully as well, you'll get very inspired, which is just like regular inspired, but very. I also learned that being focused gives a boost to handiness, so whenever I get a random bout of being overly focused, I just started upgrading random appliances around the house, starting with the toilet. I even managed to reach handiness level 5 before leaving for work. After being promoted yet again, I completed the Computer Whiz aspiration, moving on to Nerd Brain. I already have the first tier entirely done, so now all I need to do is use the woodworking table and upgrade an object. Since I don't need a job anymore, I quit that before spending the rest of the night acquiring the baking skill and learning the secret recipe of Olive Garden breadsticks. Honestly, this couldn't have come at a better time as I maxed out gourmet cooking the next morning. I guess I'll just be eating breadsticks for the next few weeks. Since eating a gourmet meal makes me very inspired, it's the perfect time to work on another book. At this rate, I don't see how this isn't maxed out within the next few days here. The violin is another skill that I've been slowly making progress on as well. Since writing is almost maxed, I think the only skills left that get a boost from inspiration are music and painting. So buckle up because we're about to power level all of those. In regards to focus, I can work on rocket science or gaming, and since rocket science is almost maxed, it only seemed right that I get that skill taken care of first. After upgrading the fuel storage, I set off to explore again before running into technical difficulties and returning home. Well, it's been 57 days. Now seems like the perfect time to start hacking away at a piece of wood in the front yard.
Wix? Wakima! Oh.
Check out my excellent dragon sculpture. Are you jealous? Anyway, finishing an excellent sculpture instills confidence in Skilius Maximus, which means it's time to go stand in front of a mirror and talk to myself for a few hours. When that wore off, I hit up the nightclub to tell some jokes while the guests did push-ups. I managed to hit level 7 before turning to mischief for the rest of the night, choosing to target the douche who spent the last hour or so doing push-ups on the dance floor. In other news, I feel like I'm flying through the baking skill. I made breadsticks and bread and I'm already up to level 3. To continue on the nerd brain track, I need to upgrade or launch my rocket 5 times. Giggity. Since I've already slapped on all the upgrades, I ended up spending the entire morning just landing and relaunching into space. At one point, I even started a galactic war and became a legend in the skies. By noon, I'd completed that aspiration goal, and now need to fix or upgrade 5 objects. Easy enough, I need to work on handiness anyway. After waking up on day 59, I decided to finish off rocket science, so it's back out to space. It took 3 more trips, but by noon, I'd checked that 1 off the list, meaning we're now up to 7 completed skills with 41 days to go. Since I was focused, I just went back to upgrading appliances. I figure it's killing 2 birds with 1 stone here, since I need to upgrade things for my aspiration goal, and I need to level handiness anyway. Seems like a win-win for me. With the Nerd Brain aspiration completed, I finished up the entire knowledge tree. Since I still need all 3 in the creativity tree though, I selected that and started on the author tree to hopefully finish up that skill. To get started, I need to write while inspired and write 2 books. Honestly, I could probably knock that out today if I really grinded through it. That being said, I'm lazy. So, I finished up the 2nd book after waking up the next morning, hitting writing level 9 in the process. With that milestone completed, I started on the next, which requires me to write 5 good books. To be honest, I don't think I've written a single one that came out less than excellent, so that really shouldn't be a problem. To get this finished as quickly as possible, I targeted short stories, since, I mean, it's in the name, guys. Kicking off day 61, I started building out tables on my workbench like I was Ron Swanson. And if I'm gonna act like Ron Swanson, well, I might as well look like him too. He really fits in well too now, doesn't he? Anyway, I still need to finish up the writing skill, so it's back to dumping out short stories. Perfect. With that out of the way, I switched my aspiration to musical genius so I could start working on finishing up the violin, guitar, and piano, the last 2 of which haven't even been looked at yet. Also, listen to how good this sounds sped up. Bro's writing a banger right here. One of my goals for this aspiration is to listen to music, so I bought the best stereo money could buy and threw on a classic. This one seems to be so much easier than the writing one. All I need to do now is play an instrument for an hour while inspired. I'll do that after I build some more tables though.
Yips. Sleep is me.
With that milestone checked off, I now need to reach level 6 in an instrument, write 4 songs, and earn $500 from licensed songs. Simple enough. I do need to hit level 8 to start writing songs though, so this may take a day or two. Well, it took almost 3 straight days of playing the violin, but we can now write songs, so that's exciting. With that, I got to work on writing my first song. This is gonna take a while.
One eternity later.
In total, it took us just under 14 hours to write our first song. After waking up in the morning, I got back to work pounding out yet another piece of crap on the violin. If I was this dude's neighbor, my brains would be splattered on the curb by now. On the bright side, I did hit violin 9 today. I did manage to also finish a second song and send it off for licensing, so at least we're making progress. On the bright side, I can now write other songs besides only folksy songs. It was around this time that I noticed I'm 390 aspiration points away from never having to sleep again, so that's what I'm grinding for now. I've decided that even if I don't get 4 songs in, I'm just going to be done with the violin as soon as I max it out. I'll make the final song on another instrument because doing nothing but listening to this for like a week straight is making me want to rip my hair out. Thank God. After leveling up gourmet cooking again, I hopped onto the piano. That's right, folks, we're going straight down the line here. In all honesty, I really just wanted to see how much progress I could make in one day if I would stay inspired for most of it. As it turns out, if you just sit down and force yourself to do something over and over again, you'll end up pretty good at it. Thanks, Mom. It's good to see that Skilius Maximus is patient zero for Ebola in the Sims universe. Time to go spread it. Perfect timing too, since I'm devoid of a social life once again. The best way I could think to go about fixing this was to start talking crazy conspiracy theories with all the guests. Surely they'll take me seriously. With my needs met, it's time to go earn a shit ton of cash by playing the piano at the nightclub. While I was at the club, I noticed I had over 10,000 points, so I got the Never Weary trait, meaning I now never have to sleep again. Back at home, I ate a gourmet meal to become very inspired, and then spent the entire night farming the piano. By the morning on day 69, I was up to level 7. It's been a while since we've done anything spontaneous and over the top, so what better way to spice things up than day 69? Welcome to our new home. Well, kinda. As soon as I got the keys, I noticed my neighbor's house looked way cooler and more modern, so I bought theirs as well and evicted that family out onto the streets. Of course, we don't need 4 bedrooms, so I took the kids' room and renovated it to be an in-home gym. Naturally, the first thing I did after moving in was hop onto my SkankHunt69 account and start trolling the forums. Once that was out of my system, I headed down to the workbench to start grinding tables while I was focused. Skilius can make violins now too, which I thought was really cool. I also spent a few hours upgrading my appliances again, since these are all new. That evening, I sat down at the piano and farmed it out until the next morning once again. By 5:30 AM, I still hadn't leveled up, though I also wasn't inspired anymore, so that may have contributed. As soon as I took a thoughtful shower and sat back down, I hit level 8 and immediately started on the final song needed for my milestone. Unfortunately, Skilius had been battling super AIDS for like a month straight and is now throwing up, so I sent him to bed for a bit until the next morning. I'm still working on the song, but I wanted to take care of my social needs real quick, so I hit up the nightclub. By noon, I was all satisfied socially and back to work on the piano, even accepting tips from random strangers as they walked by. By that evening, I'd hit level 9, but still had half a song to write. I finished writing my piano song just after midnight on day 72 and went home to relax. Got about half a skill left to grind out, so I made a gourmet meal to get inspired and finished off my second musical skill that morning. Well, that was the plan anyway, until I was f***ing abducted by aliens. Alright, now that I'm terrified of the dark, it's time to finish off the piano skill. And just like that, we've officially hit the halfway point. It's also taken 72 days for me to realize there's a fucking trait where I never need to socialize. No idea how I've missed it this many times, but I need about 2,300 points to get it, so that's my plan. Alright, I have no idea how to mentor people. I spent a few hours over at the club trying to get people to play the piano, but no one seemed to want to try it, so I think I'm just going to move on to the painting aspiration. With that, I went home and started working on some paintings. I need to get 3 done while inspired and paint for 5 total hours, so let's get to work. I was told that the tablet finishes paintings much faster, and that does look to be the case, but I also really enjoy watching my Sims paint and see what the finished product looks like. By 4:30 the next morning, I'd already completed the first milestone. All I need to do now is complete 3 emotional paintings and sell 3 to collectors or a gallery. Easy enough, and I can use the tablet to get that taken care of quickly. Since being inspired doesn't count towards an emotional painting, I decided to take a bubble bath to get Skilius into a playful mood. I left him alone for like 45 seconds, and this man is out here double fisting from his own bar. I aspire to be this happy. As it turns out, I need to be at the easel for emotional paintings. It doesn't look like they can be completed on a tablet. That being said, after finishing the first one, I went right back to inspired, so I decided to take advantage of the time and start teaching myself guitar. Real quick, gonna give a little life tip here. Go learn an instrument. I'm serious, it'll change your life. I played percussion from elementary school through high school. I have been playing guitar for around 20 years now, and I've been teaching myself piano for 4 years on and off. It's one of the most satisfying and truly beautiful things you can do, and I think everyone should at least attempt to learn it. I genuinely believe you're missing out on something special, so pick up an instrument and just play. It doesn't matter how shit you are at the start, it'll be worth it, and it's so satisfying to look back a week, a month, a year, a decade later and just see how far you've come. You know, growing up, I used to sit out on a swing with my wife and play quite literally until my fingers would start bleeding. And now it's something I do with my daughter, and it's so fucking special. Alright, sentimental moment over, back to the Tism Simulator. Overnight, going into day 74, I was able to finish both a focused and confident painting to complete the second milestone. Now all I gotta do is admire paintings at a museum, complete 10 excellent paintings, and get to level 6. Challenge accepted. Oh, and during all of this, I leveled up baking to 7. This dude's pregnant. I mean, it's 2024, I ain't judging, but, the f***. In all honesty, I think Skilius Maximus has just reached Amy Slayton levels of obesity and not giving a f***, so maybe it's time to take a short break to address that. From my understanding, anything energized boosts fitness XP, so all I gotta do is take brisk showers and chug coffee, and I'll shed the weight in a few days. Or if I am pregnant with an alien baby, it's gonna come out acting like Stewie Griffin in the early seasons. I will say, for being this morbidly obese, Skilius Maximus can move. And good God, can he throw some haymakers. You know it's a problem though when even the game is like, dude, you got fat. Judging from how fast the hunger and bladder moodle are dipping, and after watching what my wife went through, guys, I think I might be having an alien baby. And not like a New Mexico by the border baby, like a legit Cartman got an anal probe ass baby. While living in denial, I managed to crank out 3 straight excellent paintings on my way to level 7. Only 7 more paintings to go. Make that 10 straight excellent paintings in one afternoon. Not bad at all. All that's left to do now is hit up the museum and stare at the wall. On to the final step, achieve level 10 painting skill and complete 5 masterpieces. But first, no more social interactions needed. Uh-oh, baby's gonna be here soon. To once again stay in a state of denial, I just started drawing on my tablet, hoping to hit a few masterpieces in the process on my way to level 10. Can we just put the Michael Scott gif of that scene where he's like, oh my god, it's happening!
Everybody stay calm.
In lieu of a baby shower or any gifs, I would like you all to like the video. Please and thank you. Oh, and it's purple. I couldn't decide between a Barney or a P. Diddy joke, so I guess this is the last time I ever hang out with B. Diddy. Much like any other rich person, I couldn't be bothered with raising my own child, so I hired a nanny to do it for me. Trying to show the nanny how much of a man I was, I started working on building tables whenever she came in to check on me.
Kima.
Sadly, the nanny doesn't live with me, which means after 4 p.m., I'm on dad duty. Now that being said, it's still a baby, so she sleeps like 20 hours a day, allowing me to keep grinding through the night. In between all the crying and dirty diapers, I managed to hit 4 of the 5 masterpieces needed, and by that afternoon, I'd completed all 5. Now all that's left to do is max out painting. In any other playthrough, I would have kept her, but since we're on such a tight time crunch, I made the decision to send little not an alien back to her home planet. She'll have a better life there, and I'll have a better shot at maxing out my skills. At least that's what Skilius Maximus told himself in the mirror repeatedly. Anyway, the goal for day 78 was to finish the handiness skill. It's been sitting at 9 for a few days now, so I pondered some moves on the chessboard to get focused, and then spent the next several hours making bathtubs on a wooden workbench. The only skill I need to be focused on now is gaming. So I bought another mat and threw it in the gym. At this point, I took a good look at the skills and picked out what I figured would be the most tedious to grind, landing on comedy, charisma, and mischief. Painting is a breeze, baking is passive at this point, gaming is easy, fitness is easy, fishing and guitar are both AFK. Mischief is like the agility of old school RuneScape, so I wanted to get that out of the way as quickly as possible. The biggest issue with Mischief, at least for me, is that after 1 or 2 chats, the other sim disassociates with you and you have to constantly bounce around from person to person. It's just really annoying to deal with. On the bright side, I can grind out some XP by spying on the neighborhood, but it's also pretty boring. The only thing I could think to do was go to the nightclub and just spam everyone I could find, trying to give them the old Will Smith special. After like 4 hours of that, I'd only gone up about half a level. On the bright side, I can still use different moods for at least one skill, so the rest of the day was a mix of bouncing between various occupations, slowly chipping away at ones like charisma. The best way I found to pass the time with gaming, aside from gaming, is to enter tournaments. I haven't won one yet, but I am leveling up still. Of course I say that and then I immediately win this one. Since I was so close to finishing it, I decided to take a break from these social skills and focus on painting, stopping only to play video games whenever I was very focused. That being said, I did manage to queue a ton of large paintings that I was hoping would be enough to max out the skill. Well, it took most of the day and like 15 paintings, but I managed to max out painting and complete the aspiration. On day 81, I realized if I psych myself up and brush my teeth, I'll get the Very Confident buff, which I can then use by standing in front of a mirror. Just like in real life, when I'm not doing that, I'm playing video games. And this one's been a little weird to level, just because I get random bouts of focus every day or two that last for like 4 hours. So whenever that happens, I just move on to gaming until it subsides. It's clearly been working out for me though, just look at the results. Going into day 82, I redeemed 2,000 points for a steel bladder, which greatly reduces the rate you need to shit your brains out. I then spent a good 8 hours or so just bouncing back between brushing my teeth, psyching myself up, and practicing pickup lines at all until I maxed out charisma. With that done, I was inspired, so I decided to just start baking like crazy until I finished that skill off too. Mr. Maximus hit baking level 9 at around 5:30 that evening, and finished off baking just after midnight on day 83. The next highest skill is gaming, so I pondered some moves on the chessboard and started a 24-hour stream until I maxed that out. Unfortunately, I kept getting sidetracked by making food or having the VR mat explode on me, so I didn't get to max the skill until the following morning. And with that, we're down to 5 skills, being mischief, comedy, fitness, guitar, and fishing. Since I was still in a focus state for a few hours, I figured I might as well head down to town and start working on fishing again, especially considering it's my lowest skill. Continuing my trend of hanging out down here, I went right back to the nightclub once I was very playful to keep grinding away at mischief and comedy. For my third stop of the day, I moved over to the gym to get started on losing the dad bod. Going into day 85, I caved and said fuck it, and I'm only going to do mischief until it's done, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. And to accomplish that, I'll just spam bubble bats and spy on the neighbors. Now you may be wondering how long it takes to go from 8.5 to level 10 only by spying on neighbors and taking bats, and to that I'll tell you, just look at the day counter and make your own assumption. Me too, Octavio. Me too. Anyway, I hit mischief level 10 at around 2 AM on day 87, meaning we're on the home stretch and down to the final 4 skills. Utilizing the same exact method, I started on comedy. This one's obviously going to take a little bit longer since it's only level 7, but the method was the exact same. Take a bubble bath, play with the jets, go tell dick jokes to nobody. The biggest issue was that I still need to eat, and that means making meals. Well, making a meal usually puts me in a state of very inspired or inspired for 4 hours. To compensate, I just started throwing in jam sessions while I waited for it to go away. By day 89, I was on the final 20% or so I headed back to the nightclub to finish off the last of the comedy skills. Alright, down to the final 3, fishing, fitness, and guitar. I figured I'd go in order, starting with fitness, so welcome to the gym, where I'll be living for the next 2 to 3 days. My biggest annoyance with fitness is just that I don't have the fitness expansion pack, which gives you access to things like a rock climbing wall. It sounds like such a cool addition, so I'll have to look into it for next time. For now though, this is a vanilla challenge, so we're gonna keep using the treadmill and punching bag. Whenever I get hungry, I can just use the grills outside by the water to make some grilled chicken. And I feel like the endurance runs are my best asset here, since I can do those the longest before giving up. That being said, this is still a very slow process. And apparently the game thought to throw me a bone and gave me a mentor. Though I think he's fatter than Skilius right now, so I'm not really sure much of his advice is worth taking. Through the power of friendship, I was able to hit fitness level 9 that evening, meaning I should be on pace to wrap up by tomorrow morning. Which is exactly what happened. All that's left now is fishing and guitar. Since I can control my moods better at home, I just went back there and started using the chessboard to give me focus before heading down to the broken dock. Actually, I should be able to just put it in my inventory in the future and bring it down here. To save time from having to run all the way up to the 3rd story, I bought another chessboard and just threw it in the grass next to the fishing path. It doesn't seem like much, but this actually ended up saving over an hour of time just walking back and forth every time I needed to do it. Of course, when I wasn't focused on fishing, I was hosting solo jam sessions in the corner of my bedroom like a real Chad. Basically, as long as I'm inspired, I'll be shredding on the guitar. When I'm focused, I'll be fishing, because everyone knows if there's one thing you need to stay incredibly hyper-fixated on, it's f***ing fishing. That being said, all of day 92 was spent on guitar, with me leveling up 3 times. I'm expecting the slowdown to hit around level 7 for each, so at this rate, I may actually finish a day or 2 early, but we'll see. In all honesty, I'm pretty shocked I was even in a position to accomplish this. I walked into this challenge with less than 20 hours logged in The Sims 4, and most of that was from the Rags to Riches challenge I posted a few weeks ago. To be quite frank, the last few days here were really boring, but that was kinda to be expected. It's why I saved fishing for last. I'll spare you the bits I had to sit through, but I did notice both skills were at level 7 as of day 93, so I hunkered down and just kept repeating the same shit until I managed to get both skills to level 9 on day 95. And then finish each of them respectively on day 96, completing the challenge 4 days early. I know I just said it, but I was not expecting to even be remotely close to finishing this. So to not only complete it, but to finish it 4 days early was really exciting for me. Not to pat myself on the back too much here. I've really been enjoying The Sims 4 when I didn't think I would. So if you guys have any expansions you think are worth getting, please let me know, and I'd love to make a few more videos in The Sims in the future. If you watched all the way to the end, I just want to say thank you. It means the world to me that people actually watch the videos I put out. I never thought in a million years I'd ever have a video with more than 100 views, so this whole journey has been surreal. So thank you for that. Until next time, I appreciate you all. Stay safe, and thanks for stopping by.